Hello, and welcome back to my series on building a Squaredrop trailer. In the last episode, we were able to get the ACM panels installed, and in this video, I'm going to work on getting the trailer weather tight. This involves getting all the trim installed and filling in all the holes. This includes the holes where the doors are, the windows, the roof vent, the solar panels, and all the wires. And to get the easy win to start this off, I'm going to fill in the holes where the jerry can's attached to. And this was done by simply putting in some silicone sealant within the bolt holes of the trailer, installing half of the hardware on the jerry can bracket, making sure the holes lined up. After tightening up all 4 bolts, the only thing left to do is to carry the jerry can over and put it in place. And then the same process was repeated on the passenger side. Silicone goes in the bolt holes, hardware goes in, and then the jerry can gets put in place. Now, moving up on the difficulty scale are the 2 ports that are underneath the jerry cans on each side of the trailer. The passenger side will have a water port to fill the water tank. And here on the driver's side, I'm installing the shore power that will charge the batteries and give the trailer 120 volts. This shore power inlet plug has a gasket on the back and is held in by 4 bolts. It was kind of a pain to find the location where to drill this hole. I had to lay on the floor in the trailer, reach up underneath the countertop. So what I did on the passenger side is I removed the temporary countertop because I'm going to have to replace it anyways. And that way I had easy access to the water fill port. After locating and drilling the correct size holes on the trailer, I removed the cheap gasket that came with the water fill port, and I replaced it with a butyl tape. You'll see me using this butyl tape throughout the rest of the video. I bought it in 2 different sizes in black and then 1 size in white. This water supply port is held on by 3 bolts, and after it's bolted down, the fill hose is installed, and then a hose clamp is used to secure it. And after the water fill hose is installed, the vent hose is also installed in the same manner. Now that the ports are done, you can move on to the 14-inch hole on the roof of the trailer. And for that, I'm using a max air fan. This model has 10 speeds and has the ability to either push air in or pull air out. To install it, I use the flange as a guide to pre-drill all the holes through the ACM panel and into the metal framing of the trailer. And then I use the white butyl tape to go around the entire base of the flange. To ensure an even layer, I made sure not to overstretch the butyl tape. And then I hand tightened all the mounting screws to make sure that I was even pressure going around the flange. After it was tightened down, I used some blue masking tape and 1 around the flange, and then I used some lap sealant along the edge and then on top of every screw. After hooking up the 1 negative wire and the 1 positive wire, you have to crank up the fan before installing it. Cranking it up allows easy access to the 4 mounting screws that hold the fan to the flange. Now that the exterior of the fan is done, it's just a matter of a little bit of cleanup, removing the plastic, and then jumping on the inside to install the trim. The plastic trim ring will need to be cut down depending on the thickness of your ceiling. And after the wires are tucked up neatly, it's just a matter of installing the 4 screws. And now onto the windows. In hindsight, they were very easy to install, but I was a little bit nervous, just like the siding of the trailer. So I called a couple friends over to help out with this. After a couple cold snacks and a lot of over planning, we decided to scrap the over planning and just simply install the windows. And after running the butyl tape around the flange of the window and making sure Steve was on the other side of the table,
Steve, we're going to need you on the other side of this table.
And since he wasn't there, I simply picked up the window and stuck it into place. And once it's in there, it looks like we're virtually done.
Virtually done.
But there's still some measurements to make and have our friends repeat things so it's caught on camera.
Scott, you're amazing. It's perfect.
And after being satisfied with the location of the window, it's just a matter of tightening down these L brackets that clamp the window to the wall of the trailer. I wasn't sure on the exact torque to tighten each one of these nuts down. I just went around and did it a little bit at a time until the outside butyl tape kind of evenly oozed out. Each one of the nuts has a plastic cap that looks very similar to the pawn on a chessboard, and these round tops actually help the interior window trim snap into place.
Roll it up.
And for a window that I bought off of eBay, I think the interior trim panel is pretty cool. From the left comes a blackout shade, and from the right side slides out the mosquito net. And the passenger window gets installed the exact same way. We put the butyl tape around the flange of the window, carried it over, and gently stuck it into place. Took some measurements to make sure it wasn't crooked on the trailer.
Oh, it's perfect. Yes. It's exactly.
And then tightened up the ponds all the way around the window flange on the inside, and then snap the window trim into place. One of the main reasons I chose this style of window is due to the fact that when you're camping in the rain, it's nice to get air movement. And with the tilt-out windows and the ceiling fan, you can get plenty of air while you're riding out a storm. Windows are now done. Next on the list are the doors. And these are installed in a similar fashion to the windows, with some variations. It still starts with a layer of butyl tape that wraps around the flange of the door. The door is then carried over and set into place. But instead of using a flange on the inside of the door that clamps it to the trailer, these doors have screws that go through the ACM panel and into the metal frame. I pre-drilled these holes ahead of time. That way when we're installing the doors, all we have to do is hand tighten each screw a little bit at a time to evenly squish in the butyl tape. And then the same process was repeated on the passenger side door. If you've ever shopped for doors for a teardrop trailer, you might get a little bit of sticker shock. I bought these doors off of eBay. The price was a little bit lower, but the main reason I bought these doors are the design of them. They come pre-assembled with shims that are removed after installation. These shims make sure that the door aligns correctly and opens and closes. And also the design of these doors has a built-in screen door. That way if you want to air it out in the summertime, or if you even want to sleep with the doors open, you can. There's a vinyl trim ring that needs to be installed around the doors. This piece of trim hides the screws and gives it a nice clean look. It can be a little difficult to install. We end up using a heat gun to soften up the vinyl. That way it's squeezed right into place. After leaving the vinyl a little bit long on each side of the door, the only thing left to do is cut off the excess and clean up the butyl tape that oozed out. Instead of using a razor blade that could damage the ACM panel of the door, I ended up using an old hotel key card to cut off the excess of butyl tape. The next thing on the list to make this thing weather tight is to install the rear hatch. But before this door is installed, and while we still have enough room, I want to put the new countertop in. And for this, I'm just using a laminate countertop that needs to be cut to shape. A combination of a circular saw and a jigsaw did the trick on cutting this countertop. Now it's just a matter of setting it in place before the rear hatch door is installed. And speaking of the rear hatch door, as you saw in a previous video, I drove down to Iowa to buy this door. However, it came in the wrong color. I wanted the door to be black to match the rest of the trailer, so I bought this sheet of vinyl wrap. Installing vinyl wrap is a skill that's gained through experience, and I don't have the experience. However, this is a pretty flat panel, so I gave it a go. I started by removing the latches on the door so I won't have to worry about putting the wrap around them. Next, I cut the sheet of vinyl wrap so that it's oversized for the door. I sprayed a lot of it with soapy water and then removed the backing. Continuing with a lot of the soapy water, I was able to lay the wrap on top of the door and then start pressing out all the bubbles. I used a little squeegee with a felt pad to make sure it doesn't cut through the vinyl. And then I used a razor blade on the very edge to cut it even with the trim. After reinstalling both of the slam latches, I was able to flip the door over and get it ready for installation. This door installs very similar to the other doors and windows. It starts off with butyl tape around the flange, then it's carried over and set into place. The sticky butyl tape will hold it in place as I carefully open the hatch. This allows access to the area where the frame of the hatch will be mounted directly to the frame of the trailer. And this is done by pre-drilling the holes and then putting screws to the aluminum frame and into the steel of the trailer. And here's a brief walk around what it looks like so far with the doors and windows installed. However, it's not weather tight yet. There are still holes on the roof of the trailer for the mounting brackets and the wires of the solar panels. And for those, I'm using two 100-watt panels. But as I was getting them ready for install, my wife stopped over with some fresh produce from the garden. After a quick snack, I was able to get the brackets mounted to the solar panels, And then I used the panels as a template to know exactly where to pre-drill the holes through the roof of the trailer and into the metal studs. After marking them, I removed the panels and then pre-drilled all the holes. Next was organizing the wires. This was much easier to do as the panels were upside down. I used zip ties and zip tie mounts to make sure everything was neatly organized before putting white butyl tape on the brackets of each solar panel. And after disconnecting a couple wires to separate the panels, I carried the panels over and placed them directly over the pre-drilled holes. These solar panels are more on the entry level for solar panels. It's EcoFlow. I bought them off of Amazon. It's the same brand that the batteries are and the charge controller. In the future, I might upgrade the charge controller to a MPPT or even upgrade the panels or the batteries. But for now, the math shows that this is enough power to charge the trailer in its current state. You get the wires into the electrical cabinet of the trailer. I'm using these solar glands. I'm using a 2-port for where the solar panels go, and I'm using a single port for the wires that go into the roof rack. These glands get glued to the roof of the trailer with a 3M adhesive. Then I put some metal weights on top of the glands because this adhesive takes several days to set up. After hooking up some wires to the charge controller, the solar panels are now done, and we can move on to sealing the tiny gap where one panel of the siding abuts another panel of the siding. And for this, I'll mainly be using RV roof trim. It comes in a couple different sizes, but due to the shape of my trailer, I could get by with buying sticks that are 92 inches in length. It easily cuts with a regular miter saw and a fine-tooth blade. And what worked best for me was to not use the tape measure, but just to cut a little bit here, a little bit there until it fit perfect. And then to use more than one piece of tape to secure to the trailer while I'm cutting the next piece and putting it in place without using the tape measure again. What worked best was to have the angles cut exactly, and then use the finished piece on one side and a scrap piece on the other side to help mark the cuts of the next piece of trim. And then I cut that piece of trim exactly to fit between the finished piece and the scrap piece. And this would usually take a couple trips back and forth from the saw, removing just a sliver of material at a time until it fits perfect. And once I was happy with it, I would tape it into place, and then I would remove what was once the scrap piece and make that the next finished piece. And then I continued the same process in the driver's side of the trailer, starting on the front and working my way all the way to the back. And once all the trim was taped out of the trailer exactly where it needed to be, I would pre-drill into the steel siding of the trailer, and then use stainless steel self-tapping screws. The location of the screw holes and the RV roof trim are in the perfect location to hit the center of the steel framing of the trailer. However, dealing with these self-tapping stainless steel screws was kind of a nightmare. And even with pre-drilling the holes, about 1 out of every 3 screws would snap as I was trying to put them in place. This last piece of roof trim was the easiest. It was just a straight cut with no fancy angles. And the same thing, pre-drilled it and put the stainless steel screws in. All of the 90-degree roof trim is now cut and set into place, but there are still the 135-degree angles, 2 on the front and 1 on the rear of the trailer that need to be done. And for this, I'm using extruded aluminum. The price for each 12-foot stick isn't bad, but the shipping can be very expensive. I ended up teaming up with another Minnesotan who was building a trailer, and we were able to save on the shipping cost. If you're watching this, thank you, Norm. And these cut just like any other stick of aluminum. No fancy angles, just straight cuts. And these sticks of aluminum don't have pre-drilled holes, which ends up working to our advantage because of the way the trailer is framed. What I had to do is mark the location of the studs and then drill the holes through the aluminum trim. In the exact same way I did the RV roof trim, I mounted the 135-degree trim completely with the screws before removing the screws and then prepping these pieces for paint. I scuffed them up a little bit, cleaned them with some acetone, and then I used an aluminum primer. While the primer was still drying, I went back inside and removed all of the RV roof trim. The trim is cut correctly and installed with screws, but the purpose of this video is to make sure everything is weather tight. So we have to take all this trim off, put sealant underneath it, and then put it back on. By the time I got all the trim off the trailer, the primed aluminum outside was ready for its first coat of paint. And while that was drying, I went back inside and started installing the trim. While Although I'm not a pro at this, I did discover a little trick that might help you if you're installing this yourself too. After you put the butyl tape on the back of the RV roof trim, you want to punch out the holes where the screws go. If you don't do this, the butyl tape will grab onto the threads of the screw, and as you're putting the screw in, the screw will be twisting and pulling the butyl tape towards the hole and away from the uniform sealing surface. If you ever put a screw through carpet, you know what I'm talking about. All the fibers wrap around the screw and pull away from the carpet. After installing the butyl tape on the ceiling of the roof trim, I use an RV sealant on the wall side of the trim. And this will help any road spray or any water that splashes up from getting inside the trim. I use some yellow masking tape just in case I slopped on some of that tar-like sealant, just to make cleanup a little bit easier. And after tightening down the screws, I repeated the same process on the rest of the trim. Applied the butyl tape, punched out the holes where the screws go, applied the Sikaflex, installed it in place, tightened down the screws. Another little trick I learned but not shown here is that if you leave the butyl tape about a ½ inch long on each side of the trim, the butyl tape will overlap and then it kind of squishes into place and forms one piece, and then after the trim is installed, you can just pull the butyl tape out and it leaves the mitered edge a clean look. And the last thing to do to seal up this RV roof trim is to install the vinyl strip. This strip is very similar to the one that went around the doors. It's a little bit different thickness, and it's one entire strip from the front of the trailer all the way to the back. This strip installs a little bit easier than the one that went around the doors too. I was able to pinch it in a little bit easier because it's softer. On the 135-degree angles and the 90-degree angles, I ended up using a heat gun just to melt it a little bit, and then it wrapped around pretty easy. And here's a finished look of what it looks like if the camera can pick it up. Keeps the weather out of the screws and gives it a nice clean look. And by now, the 3 coats of paint are dry on the 135-degree angle trim. And I installed this in a very similar fashion as the RV roof trim, except this one I put the butyl tape right down the middle into the angle, and then I used a healthy dose of that Sikaflex on both sides of the butyl tape to help ensure a watertight seal. And this one's a little bit messier with all that tar-like Sikaflex, so I ended up using the yellow masking tape on both sides while screwing it into place, and then I used my finger to run a nice smooth bead before removing the yellow masking tape. And then the same process was repeated twice on the front of the trailer. Another little tip I learned when doing these pieces is that if you leave the wax paper on the butyl tape, you can press it more firmly into place before putting on the Sikaflex. I would assume of all the areas that might leak on the trailer would be these 2 front pieces, so I went a little bit overkill with the Sikaflex, and even after I installed the piece of the trim, I came by later with an extra layer and kind of sealed it up even more. And there you have it. Except for the holes for the roof rack, which will be another video, this trailer is pretty much weather tight. The only thing left to do is to hook it up to the van and pull it outside in the sun to see what it looks like. And this is kind of a big moment for me to watch it pull out of the garage and drive across the lawn. You ever done one of those projects that you worked really hard on, and at the end of the project you kind of sit back and just stare, filled with pride as you're able to observe a certain level of progress? Well, this is one of those moments for me. Don't get me wrong, there's still plenty more work to do, but I'm just happy with the progress so far. Click subscribe to stay tuned for the next video, where I use Microsoft Paint to get an idea and then eventually turn it into a reality.